I love solving puzzles, or better put, I love to try to solve puzzles. Considering I fail to solve nearly 70% of all the puzzles I encounter and have to go and ask the kind netizens of Reddit for help. But you know, that's probably why I think the point of a puzzle is not the answer to it, but the process of finding the answer. After all, when the puzzle is solved and the answer is found, we just move on to the next puzzle. Whether it's, how am I supposed to pay this tax? Or, how best can I ask my crush out? Or, why in the bloody hell is this mic not picking up audio? I think it would be fair to say that we live in a world overflowing with questions and puzzles and codes and ciphers. This has pushed us humans to be pattern finders and puzzle solvers, to always ask questions in hope of uncovering new, novel and helpful answers. In the real world within which we live though, getting the answer wrong to a puzzle could quite possibly cost us our lives. Oh, I wonder why Mercury's so shiny. Could it be that it has healing powers? I'm gonna drink half a gallon of this every time I have a cold. I know many of us live hard lives, but I feel like we've been very lucky in the way that we have been born in a golden age of art, be it music, literature or visual arts, or maybe a combination of all of them which we call a video game. Art has never been so accessible to all of us regardless of our income or social standing. This art boom has given us the chance to create puzzles that let us experience the thrill of encountering a puzzling puzzle without having to stake our lives on it. We get to spend our free time connecting to something primal deep within us, focusing on how best we can tackle a problem, and fail, and fail, and fail, and fail, and fail. But the best part about this experience is that we can fail as many times as it takes, and with each failure, we inch closer to an answer that will hopefully prove satisfactory. With each failure, we learn something new about the puzzle, ourselves, or the world that surrounds us both. And finally, when we get the answer we have been looking for hours, days, months or years, we feel like we have accomplished something. We feel like we have been freed from shackles that were holding us back. Perhaps what makes solving a puzzle worth our time is how the process of finding the answer changes us. I remember playing Sekiro for the first time. I easily went past the first area of the game, climbed to the top of Ashina Castle, and then faced Genichiro Ashina. I remember spending hours upon hours, days after days trying to beat this boss, and at some point, I just ran away. I tried to beat another boss called Lady Butterfly, but I couldn't do that either. But I love this game. I love how it plays, I love how it looks, I love how it sounds. Why doesn't the game love me back? Why does it keep rejecting me? So, with a broken heart, I stopped playing. Several months passed, but I just couldn't get this game out of my mind. I kept thinking about why I couldn't defeat the boss. Just what was it I was doing wrong? And unable to resist the urge to face Genichiro one more time, I picked up my controller and faced Genichiro Ashina. Sure enough, I was getting my ass handed to me. But then, a thought popped into my head. Maybe, just maybe, I should just master the fundamentals? And with that, I made a trip to the dilapidated shrine and started training with Hanbei the Undying. After a few hours of drilling the fundamentals into my skull, I went back to fighting Genichiro. This time though, I made it further into the fight. The battle was no longer one-sided. I could fend off most of his attacks. I made it through to the third phase. Wait, this isn't fair! What do I do? Oh god, here he comes! My heart is beating so fast, what do I do? Which button? Oh, classic FromSoft. I was defeated. But this time, I knew I could beat him, so I kept inching closer to the end. Somewhere in between my many attempts, I learned how to keep panic at bay. I learned the importance of mastering the fundamentals. I learned how to keep my eyes on the ball as I faced what felt insurmountable. Sekiro changed me. The me that had stood victorious atop Ashina Castle was a different person from the me who had run away. It was not defeating Genichiro that made me a better person. It was the process of getting to the point that I could defeat him that made me an arguably better and more capable human being. Genichiro was not my opponent, he was my master. He was a friend. As all pieces of art tend to do, he held up a mirror and showed me my flaws. He taught me something extremely valuable. But this video is not about Sekiro. Although I'm definitely writing a love letter to Sekiro at some point, this video is about a little known manga called Cipher Academy. Cipher Academy is unlike any manga I have read throughout my time as a manga/anime fan. I even tried asking a few friends on forums if they knew of any other titles that are attempting to do something similar to Cipher Academy. But to my dismay, Cipher Academy appears to be an anomaly. Perhaps it is no wonder that an anomaly such as this is authored by none other than Nishio Ishin, the author of Monogatari series and Katanagatari, which are beloved by many, me included, in the anime and manga community. He's probably the only author who could do a project such as this justice. We are talking about the man who signs his pen name like this, to emphasize that it's a palindrome. If you read his works, you'll see how much he enjoys playing with words and language to create comedic dialogues as well as puzzling mysteries. For example, he loves giving his characters catchphrases such as "Anta kimi tachi wa genki ii na? Nanika ii koto demo atta no kai?" as well as "Nandamo wa shirimasen. That encapsulate the characters' personalities and proclivities. Nishio Ishin writes in Japanese, and by virtue of translation, what we get to read in English is at best an attempt at reconstructing his genius. But regardless of the plights of translation, many of the charms of his approach to writing carry over to the translated works. But since we are talking about codes, I challenge you to a code battle! Here's a little code for you to chew on while we talk about code breaking. The question is, where is the meeting place? Iroha Irohazaka is a student who has enrolled in Cipher Academy because he thought the uniforms looked very stylish. But turns out the uniforms are military uniforms. And this is a military academy where Cipher soldiers are trained, code breakers. After all, the future wars are all about information. Class A1 is made up of students who all have their own specialties and strengths. Iroha, however, not having had any prior experience with code solving, struggles to find the answer to their very first class assignment. But then he meets Kogwe, who tells him he can protect his family and friends if he gets better at solving codes. He can even save the world by winning wars without violence, and thus, Iroha's journey to become the ultimate Cipher soldier and bring everlasting peace to the world begins. If you have experienced your fair share of Shonen Jump series, you know that disagreements and tensions between characters are likely to be solved by fights. And the anime community always goes, for lack of a better word, nuts over Gojo fighting the volcano head or Tanjiro fighting some demons. But that's not what we do here. This is Cipher Academy, not Trench Academy. Problems here are solved either by a code battle or a dance battle. And if you think these are not as cool as two gorillas bashing heads, just you wait, you Philistine. Cipher Academy Chapter 9. Irohazaka-kun pushes himself a little bit too hard and faints while trying to solve a cipher. When he gains consciousness, he finds sitting beside him Cipher Academy's one and only Taiyu Yugata, also known as the Trauma Producer. The Trauma Producer challenges him to a code battle. In fairness to Tayo-san, affectionately called Tayo-tan, she warns him, "If you take me on in a code battle, you'll suffer a defeat so devastating that headaches, nausea and fatigue will result every time you see a text." After all, Tayo-tan hates bullying the weak. Cipher Academy Chapter 10. Somewhere else in Cipher Academy, Kogwe Horagatoke meets Kiora Toshosai, affectionately called Kyorarin. Kogwe, Iroha-kun's very first friend, offers a truce between the Toshosai faction and the Kogwe faction. Kyorarin accepts, that is if Iroha-kun can fend off the Trauma Producer. Now back to Iroha-kun, who is going to be fighting for his life. Against all his senses telling him not to accept this battle, in a manner truly fit for a Shonen Jump protagonist, he accepts. I'm sure this won't have any disastrous ramifications further in. Oh god, oh god, oh no, oh god no. Cipher Academy Chapter 11. Iroha-kun experiences the game called Verbal Slip Cut by Half Question and Answer. Let me explain the rules to you. The Japanese language has 46 characters. In this game, the players get handed 23 cards bearing 23 characters out of the 46 characters, and they have to ask questions and answer using only the characters they possess. If you have a verbal slip and use a character you don't have, you lose. If you don't answer the question, you lose again. You can ask as many questions as you want, but before you can ask a question, you need to answer all the questions you have been asked. This leads to a situation where Iroha-kun, whose ability to speak has been greatly diminished, ends up answering truthfully to nearly all the questions he's been asked. Not because he wants to, because he feels forced to answer the questions. After all, he doesn't want to lose by failing to answer a question, and this is why this game is also known by another name, Legal Totore. I don't want to say the word because YouTube. I think you can guess what Totore is. As someone who has been on the receiving end of one of these legal Totores, aka a very hostile interrogation disguised as a friendly chat, this image of a broken glass, of Iroha-kun sweating, the expression on his face, is true to my own experience, where I felt someone had forcefully broken into my heart and had peeked inside when I just didn't want them to. And this smile, this fucking smile afterwards makes me want to. Although Cipher Academy stands out from other Jump series in a way that really tickles my fancy, it also carries on some of the proud traditions that make Shonen Jump so beloved by their fans. Cipher Academy has an amazing cast of characters, all of whom are unique and interesting and are drawn in an art style that is bound to strike a chord with your heart. I can't wait to spend more time with every single one of these characters. Oh, I see. Although it brings a world of ache to my heart to say this, Cipher Academy was cancelled after a mere 58 chapters. We can speculate as to why this happened, but honestly, I just don't want to think about what has happened to the world that a series as ingenious as this has met such an end. But all I'll say is that I wholeheartedly hope that this series will inspire many more artists to try and create art that revolves around codes, puzzles and ciphers. Some may say, art about the essence of life itself. In the meantime though, I highly recommend you check out Cipher Academy if you haven't already, and as Toshosai Sensei from the Dimensional Rift would say, now it's time for you to design your own ciphers.